I just saw this immense community, amazing community. And these were people who were just like same age as we are, and they were building these like crazy companies or projects. And I was thinking like, okay, why isn't that at Purdue? Clearly we do have the same quality of founders as the Bay Area. So why didn't we have a community for those founders?
What is Build Purdue? We are the fastest growing startup community here at Purdue that we're trying to build together to attract these founders that do exist at Purdue and try to provide the support systems and the vibe of building.
What was the biggest failure that you encountered?
I would say probably our first call out. What would you say? Would you agree?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's like the thing I can pinpoint because we put so much effort. Everything was horrible.
You are the future. You guys are the future of the team.
Hello, I'm Anne, the interviewer here at Build Purdue, where we're doing a content series focused on interviewing student, faculty, and alumni founders. I'm here with
Andres. I am the president of Build Purdue.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm the co-founder of BuildPurdue.
So now we're talking so much about Build Purdue. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, when I was a sophomore, I was walking around Purdue and I was like really interested in startups. And that was like when I started, that was after I left my robotics team. And many people might know it as like BoilerBots, because I helped found that in my freshman year. But around my sophomore year, I was walking around Purdue and I was like going to all these events and stuff like that. And a lot of people were talking about like, oh yeah, other schools have all these like startups being started at like, Berkeley, Stanford. Where was all of those founders at Purdue? And the misconception was like, we didn't have any good founders, right? But which was like totally wrong because I met like, people like, Leon, who was the founder of Vago, and he does like student car rentals, right? And I met the founder of Boiler Bookings, which eventually became Jumpseat, and that was Rithwick. And, these were like some really, really great founders on campus. And I was like, okay, so clearly we do have the same quality of founders as the Bay Area. So why didn't we have a community for those founders like some of these other schools were? And so I kind of went around just like figuring out this issue. Like it was kind of like boiling in my head. And I was like really upset because I was like, I really wish there was something like that, especially because I was in San Francisco the end of, I think the summer of my junior year. I think so. No, summer of my sophomore year. 2 summers ago was when I went to Y Combinator startup school. Met a lot of the founders there, met Sam Altman, met like, Paul Graham. He actually signed my name tag at startup school. And then I also went to Build Space. And over there, I just saw this immense community, amazing community. And these were people who were just like same age as we are. And they were building these like crazy companies or projects. And I was thinking like, okay, why isn't that at Purdue? And then, so when I came back in this semester, I just started recruiting people saying like, hey, anybody wanted to start something like that with me? And obviously there was like not much success in the beginning, but then I went to a photography club meeting one day where actually I wasn't going to. I was actually on my way back, and then that's when I ran into Andres at the clapping.
Yeah, and when I ran, like Max was just spouting something off. Hey, this has nothing to do with photography. We're both photographers, but we've barely even talked about photography ever. He was spouting something about business majors or like not liking them or something, and I was a business major at the time. So I just walked up to him and I'm like, okay, what don't you like about me then? And we had a very long conversation because Max, it was obviously an interesting conversation because guess what? I am not like any other business major. I was a complete artist. I was a builder. I was doing all of these things, and Max found that very interesting. And at the end of it, well,
it was more like, it's not like I was hating on business majors. I had nothing against business majors. Like we would love to have them.
Exactly.
The problem is the fact that like I met Andres and I was like, you do not fit the profile of a business major.
Exactly. I'm like, why?
What are you doing? I went to Andres like, what are you doing in business school? Yes. Like, and so then well, now you're gonna what, Kodo to CS? I mean, like,
yes, I am Kodoing now to CS.
Yeah, so
in the process. So
he's convinced. So, but yeah, Andres is the builder. So
Yeah, and he told me the story that he just told you guys. And about Build Space and all of that, and he brought me into the startup world, and we worked on.
We tried to get it started in the beginning. Yeah, and yeah, it had some rough edges. Like my startup's Frontera, and we're trying to build this like dashboard for project builders, and we want to build like a co-founder matching platform essentially, and that started as that, and we wanted to say like, oh well, why don't we just pair it with a club, and then so when the co-founders match, they can just show up to the club, right?
The Frontera Club.
Exactly, Frontera. And then that was, but then that just crashed and burned very badly. We launched like last spring, and then nobody showed up. And so what we decided to do was we split the team into the events team of Frontera eventually became BuildPurdue. And then I still have my startup team, and we pivoted into working on something different. And both of those things are going on at the same time. So I think with my startup, I think we're going down more of like a a dashboard where it's like you can request services from local businesses for a project, right? If a builder or startup founder needs like legal services, they can just, push a button, and then, we could pair them up with the right consulting agencies.
Yeah.
And then for Build Purdue,
on our end,
yeah, exactly.
Our end, what is Build Purdue? We are the fastest growing startup community here at Purdue that we're trying to build together to attract these founders that do exist at Purdue and try to provide the support systems and the vibe of building and working on startups together, because I think there's been a significant lack of that at Purdue, because I was a freshman last year and I felt that as well. And Max explained to me the problem in detail of why I was feeling this way. And so, I stepped up, and now I'm the president of Build Purdue as to Max is about to graduate. He's building a company, as you can hear. Like he's gone. And
which is not fun while you're trying to be a student at the same time.
Yes, exactly. And so, me and people like Anna, who is a freshman, I'm a sophomore now, but she's a freshman. Like we're all going to work together to bring this torch and solve this problem, because
taking a long-term approach.
Yes.
I guess I kind of joined because I was like, okay, well, I already started a club here before.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I helped build BoilerBots. So BoilerBots was refounded actually in my freshman year. So I got in contact with a couple of people, and we helped scale. So after COVID, a lot of teams were dead, and I got in contact with some of the original founders of RoboMasters, and we helped revive the team, and I was one of the people who revived it, and we helped scale it to the 150 person or so team it is today, and we got $70,000-$80,000 of funding. I think I single-handedly built all of those relationships, and I was like, okay, well, Build Purdue is very similar. We probably need to also raise funding and sponsorship, so I just decided that I was probably going to come in and help guide this current new generation of...
And you have been a great help, Max.
Oh, thank you.
a very great help.
But I hope so. That's why I want to make sure that you're president, because I knew that eventually I'm going to be graduating, and this is not my game to be playing, because I already have my network, and I already have built that up over the years. And it was kind of silly in the beginning trying to do that, but I felt like, you probably felt like it was a really good learning experience over, the year. What would you say is the biggest things you've learned?
Oh, the biggest things.
Yeah, exactly. From that semester of failing, basically.
Semester of failing. Well, the first thing I learned is things take time, and I have to fail, right? I have to fail to learn, the things that I did.
What was the biggest failure that you encountered?
The biggest failure.
Oh yeah, you should speak on that.
I would say probably our first call out, or something like that. What would you say? Would you agree?
Yeah, probably.
That's the thing I can pinpoint, because we put so much effort into trying to bring people in. We put so much effort into designing the posters, and we only thought about the posters, and I forgot about these other things and the marketing and all this stuff, and I was trying to handle it all by myself, right? And in combination with some people who were half working for us, and we were still in the middle of the Frontera/Build Purdue thing, and we marketed everything, and we're prepping for the thing, and then you took until the very last minute to make the slides.
Yeah.
And so it was just, everything was horrible. And the room that we got was horrible as well. It was disgusting. We walked in there. We set everything up. And then no one showed up as well. I think 5 people showed up.
But the important part was the fact that you learned that.
Exactly.
Lesson, right? Because the thing is even if I knew that these are the wrong decisions, when you start out as a beginner, right, you see everything as a sea of opportunity. And what I've been trying to get you to do is to try these things without me telling you that much. And then once you had explored all of those avenues and options, and then realized those were dead ends, and you'll see the same things, but you immediately be able to block out the things that obviously are dead ends. That would be to a more experienced person are dead ends. But I think every beginner has to go through that, right? And I think the startup journeys as well. But that's just an iterative process, right? For 5, 6, 7 cycles, right? And if you're doing it right, then you should be failing pretty consistently, pretty often.
And we did that, and then obviously it all culminated to the thing that everybody sees, which is this semester we're starting out. We spent the summer basically preparing, all of the little things to have an Instagram set up, and all of the little branding and all those little things that needed to be set up beforehand. Now I knew from what I learned, what are the things that I needed to focus on. I walked into the room. Okay, now I need to convince people to come to my club. What are the things that I need to focus on? I don't even think we put posters up for the party at all.
No, we didn't.
Because we were like, dude, we just need to start with word of mouth. And most of the people who showed up were either through
we threw out
some random LinkedIn post.
So what happened
just
was
asking friends.
So I would say the biggest turning point for our organization, which got people like Anna involved, was when that summer we prepared, and then we did, instead of a call out, we did a pre-call out party, and that was pretty important. We did that in RoboMaster, so I think that was like an idea that we thought would be a good idea, because it's like in a party setting you could just, you know, it's open, anybody can show up, but it allows you to put a name out there. And so what we did was we organized that party, and it was like the first week semester starting, and we marketed it on social media, we marketed it all everywhere. But I think the turning point was I made a LinkedIn post that went viral. I think got like 6,000 views or something like that, right?
Exactly.
And that's when we went from like 25 people signing up on Luma. We ended up with like 168 people signing up on Luma.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about the party, and a lot of people knew about BuildPurdue. And in fact, actually, a couple Indiana venture capital firms reached out to us over the DMs saying like, hey, could we come guest speak? Or hey, could we come to one of your events? The vice president of Innovates showed up. Anvil's entire executive team showed up to our party. A couple of the influencers. I think Ethan. Shout out to Ethan. He's a CS major here, but he's been winning a lot of hackathons, and he has like his whole Instagram channel. I think you messaged Ethan.
Yes, I have.
Right, like
it was very helpful. Thank you, Ethan.
Ethan, he's like a, you know, an influencer here, but I think he's a sophomore, and he recently, I think, won like some prize in like I think at a Cornell hackathon or something like that. He won Boilermaker already, so he's won a lot of hackathons. And his whole YouTube channel is like helping CS majors get jobs and stuff. But he showed up to our party, and then obviously like he gave us some really great advice for like content creation and stuff. So you know, this is our attempt to, you know,
it was yes to live up to the name.
Yeah, exactly.
So from what I'm hearing, you serve more as like a mentor role rather than a staff position at BuildPurdue. Why did you choose not to be, say, the president or something like that?
Good question.
Why is Max not the president? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean that is a good question. I mean, people probably, because, you know, it's funny because Doug, you know, when Doug came into the event, right, he actually was like, "Are you the president?" Like he asked me, I was like, "Nope, that dude." Like I just like pointed at, like I was like, I searched for Andres and I'm like, "That's him." It's like he's the president. Well, one, because I'm lazy. That's
Here we have it, folks.
You know, but the real reason is because, you know, I've already started one very major team at Purdue, and I already built my network, and that was like a lot. And then also I'm an upperclassman now. I don't have the time. But the real reason is really because to build something that is truly incredible takes time, right? Like, for example, everybody learns compound interest or compounding effects, right, in power law. But very few people actually applies them in their actual work, right? Because most freshmen would join like 3 or 4 clubs. And what happens is, like, that actually was a common strategy when I was a freshman. A lot of people said, like, oh, yeah, I'm a leadership in this and leadership in that club. Like, they're leads in 2 or 3 clubs, right? But the problem with that is that you're splitting your time up. Even if you're good at optimizing your time and you're scheduling master, the problem is the fact that all of the effort you spent context switching between the problems you can't compound on those effects, right? The work that you do across these 3 clubs can't compound on each other. Whereas I joined one club, and all of my efforts in every moment of the decision making of the execution compounded on each other to be able to hit the scale we needed to start my robotics team back then, right? And I realized, like, again, like, I didn't have that time anymore because I'm a senior now, but I've already done it once, and I realized that this is one of those clubs where it's going to take time to build, right? Because our whole goal is we want to make BuildPurdue the largest, most successful entrepreneurship community for founders here at Purdue, and we want to have the same level of impact as like PSP does for aerospace or FSAE does for mechanical engineering. I want us to be the #1 organization that is the most influential student organization for entrepreneurship here in the Midwest, right? And that's like our vision. And that's not going to happen overnight, you know? Like, no. And then Jensen Huang also talked about this too. It's like, you don't have to change the world tomorrow. You can change the world over the next 30 years, right? And you just have to play the game long enough to survive to the next day. And that's like an attitude that obviously, you know, is not a common approach, especially startups. Like, you know, we're trying to race fast and, like, you know, do things, but, you know, great things come with time, right? But you have to know you're making progress. And so knowing that, keeping that in mind, I've been kind of trying to instill that in the BuildPurdue staff, where it's like, okay, look, guys, we aren't going to be successful in 1 year, but if we extend it out to 4 years, it seems a lot more reasonable. And I don't have 4 years. I'm graduating in a year. But you know what? I could set it up so that he, a sophomore, Andres is a sophomore, he can have that experience. He already had a year of experience, but with me privately. But now he's running, this is your first year running BuildPurdue, right? And now you're going to have 3 more years of runway to do this, right? And Anna just joined as a freshman. And my hope is that in the next 4 years, we can start hitting those small wins. And then, you know, it will slowly snowball into, like, you know, the kind of, we can hit the kind of results that we want to achieve at some point, right?
Yeah,
and
of course.
that's not going to happen. Again, not going to happen overnight, but it needs to happen now, and that's why I'm saying as a mentor, I could try to always be involved even after I graduate. But more importantly, it's teaching you. You are the future. You guys are the future of the team, and you guys need to be able to learn how to make those decisions and make those mistakes without me guiding you, because it's not me making those decisions anymore, especially because I'm gone. And then eventually you guys will have to cultivate, a couple successors in your own departments,
Yes, of
right?
course.
And so that's kind of if that answers your question.
Yes, and you were talking a bit about the vision in the future. Can you elaborate more on what you want when you're a Purdue alumni coming back in 5 or 10 years? What do you envision the club to look like?
Me?
I can.
Question for both of you.
Yeah, I can talk about it. I mean, let's go through the alumni, because we have different projects, right, in mind, different initiatives.
There's a couple things that we defined, which was the problem with a lot of events-based organizations is the fact that you can't hit those compounding effects with each event, right? Because every event you spend putting into, let's say you host one really good event, for the next event you have to spend all of that effort just to plan another event again, and then you have to, and especially for something that's like always fluctuating, like students, where we have midterms, that's just not feasible. So I think we try to focus on certain initiatives, like whereas we do have, some. Like events, right? But I think we needed to focus on initiatives that would have compounding, like long-lasting, impact. And then, you can talk about some of those that we...
Yeah, I mean, one of them immediately that we think about is our concept of builder base, which is kind of in line with what people would just call a mentorship program. And what the value we're trying to bring there is that we want to create a very frictionless system for Purdue alumni to be able to come back to Purdue, like you said. Like, that's just, I just thought of that. That's not exactly what you were asking, but for Purdue alumni to come after, like Purdue founders alumni to come back to Purdue and have a place where they can give mentorship to our, founding members. They could see all the projects that are on our database of founders, right? That's the other half of it, right?
And when will this be launched?
Well, we're thinking
hopefully spring.
Yeah, sometime spring we'll have some sort of MVP out for people. Obviously, the main goal is to have a place where people can our founders who have proven to us that they have MVPs and whatnot, and that they're actually working on their startup. They will upload and they'll have their projects and their profiles. Right, it's more user based, because then from there we'll have a system where they can contact alumni, or schedule a time with an alumni, or schedule a time, with mentors or whatever. And, I think we could connect this to also the demo day thing, right? I don't know if you want to speak on that, like how it connects the sponsors.
Oh, okay. So I would say the other 4 initiatives are we have, like, we want to try to design a program or an accelerator program of sorts that will help, like, serious teams get the advice they need. And those are for teams who have something going on and are serious about it, and only those teams can be a part of that accelerator program. It can't just be people who are entrepreneurs, like people who are thinking about it. But then we have the general events track, which is open to everybody, and we want as many people, anybody who's a designer, business major,
interested in startups.
It's not just startups. It's like just a project idea.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because the thing is, like, there's a lot of people in the health and human sciences department, the liberal arts college, the the business school, right, or even the pharmaceutical school or the agricultural school. Like, all of these other departments have the really, really interesting projects or ideas, right? But they might not have the technical expertise to build it, right? And obviously, CS majors tend to have an opposite problem where they build usually the exact same AI co-founder dating, or AI this for AI for doctors or dentists, and then it's the same format as it is. And I feel like it's really interesting because, like, if you see CS majors think about it, like, they have a certain way of thinking about things that's, like, becomes a very common bias, right? Whereas, like, you need the different perspectives of maybe what a doctor or, like, a veterinarian or like a designer or a musician, they might have a different workflow that they could then provide that expertise to. And if they can be co-founders, then that startup will have, like, a lot more, like, they can build in a more differentiated way, right?
So you're saying that having an interdisciplinary club is what makes our club so great?
We want to try to be as interdisciplinary.
Yeah, that's what the general events is like.
Yes.
Just like a bit of a a melting pot. Yes.
Yeah, we want to have as interdisciplinary of a program and community as possible. And then the 4th one is the, so we have the builder base, exclusive member track, which is the accelerator, and then we have the general member track, which is probably going to be the office hours, the coffee co-working, and we'll have the demo day, which is at the end of the semester. Science fair style, just like show up.
It's pretty self-explanatory. That's
just
like,
show off your project, right?
We want to have a big event where people can
Right.
show off their projects,
and then you'll have, like, sponsors, and then you'll have this, right? And then that's what we're planning. And so we don't have that. We're still in the works. So, but that's exciting. and the fifth one is a content team.
Yes.
So
Exactly
yes.
this.
That's so funny that we feel it's like
Yeah.
because we're in it right now. We want to create a very, consistent content pipeline that can provide value to you guys beyond just our
Because like, how are you know there will be actually awesome? Like we had Dr. Tay, who's a professor in HHS, right?
Yes.
And he's built like a really profitable startup, right? Nobody knows about him. He doesn't even show up to a lot of the events at Purdue, and he's like buried. He loves his research, right? And so it's like he's on campus. Nobody
Yeah.
sees him, and I'm like, students should be able to know that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. How did you feel about his talk yesterday, right?
It was awesome.
Right? Like you felt like, do you feel like you learned a lot?
I learned like they're so crazy how much you can learn in like a 30-minute talk.
Yep, exactly.
There you go. And then but then
Exactly.
Dr. Tay is just like,
And we have so many people like that at Purdue, and we want this, for example, at least the interview series, to be just pulling in random people that we can find.
pretty much.
Not random, obviously, people who we believe have a lot of insight that could offer to Build Purdue, and so we have this content series, and obviously coverage of our events to show off what's actually going on.
So, what is like one piece of advice or one quote that you want to leave our viewers with?
You're the one with the quotes. I'm the one with the. I could come up with something.
Vipata sees this. He's gonna. I'm quoting Vipata at this point. My good friend. The wisdom of the wise oftentimes seem foolish, and it's the saying that goes where it's actually a saying that I actually found out recently. It's actually exists across cultures where people who tend to have we're at Purdue. And we're at a university where there's a lot of smart people, very intelligent people. Raw IQ, yes, processing power and being able to learn fast and solve problems. That's oftentimes championed as the thing that's most important. But wisdom is saying, hey, what is the right problem to solve and what is the right knowledge I should acquire and applying it in the right way to deliver measurable results, right? And wisdom is the idea of knowing that tomato is a fruit, but it shouldn't be in a fruit salad, right? And the thing with in a world where everybody, because I'll give you an example. So one of the things that a lot of smart people would do, especially with like running this actually happened with my robotics team. So the reason why I had to start up the robotics team was because the team was dead. And why was it dead? Was because the former founders of that team actually were extremely capable electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. Each of the sub-team leads of that robotics team, they were extremely capable. They could do 10 persons work. And their entire process was like, if you couldn't deliver, you're out of the team. Or they were basically like, they would just rush ahead and just design crazy circuit boards and like PCB designs and then and mechanical like design the CAD, right? And then one person would be doing all of that, right? And they were able to move very fast and then they were able to win competitions and whatever. But the problem was succession, because when one of those guys graduated, that was like taking 10 people's worth of work with them or 10 people's like labor with them, right? And the team was not sustainable after like a semester or two. And you see time and time again, a lot of the club leadership, they focus on getting those results and delivering those measurable results or winning a competition in their semester. So the leader can say, hey, I got a shiny thing on my resume and fuck all of you guys, you guys figure it out after my mess, right? But a good leader should be able to say like, hey, look, I'm putting the team first. I can walk away without any, like, maybe we didn't win this competition. But you know what? I set up the team in a way that's sustainable and it can have succession. And the next generation of people, maybe they won't move as fast, but they will carry the torch to the point where maybe the following generation after them will be able to actually contribute another layer of innovation. And you know which team did that? University of Washington. They open sourced. They made wiki, they made lots of documentation. They open sourced a lot of their designs, actually. And University of Washington actually was the #1 team in the North America region for the RoboMasters for the last like 5-6 years, right? And they actually, when they were founded around the same time as Purdue's RoboMasters team was founded, which is crazy because it's like, wait, a team that year to year, if you look at the demographic of the quality of the members, Purdue had a lot of the better engineers at specific seasons of the competition, and then University of Washington had always like they might have had like worse designers for their mechanical systems, worse designers for engineers for their PCBs, right? But because they documented everything and then they always made sure to train up their next generation very well, their team was able to long term grow consistently year by year, and that's what you want in a team, right? And I think that's kind of what I hope Build Purdue is gonna be, right? Where it's like you have, there's gonna be volatility, but you need to make sure that your core leadership and the core initiatives that you're doing is going to have consistent, every step that you take is you're not taking 2 steps backwards. You need to consistently be moving forward, and then just building on top of that and being okay handing it off, and then maybe people make mistakes, but as long as those long-term outcomes
and thinking, and then when you look at it only short term without looking at the long form, seems foolish. Seems foolish.
And so that's why and I think that's like the essence of that quote. And there's probably many more examples, honestly, but it's also the idea that like when you don't take yourselves too seriously, which I think
that's literally my advice. My advice is experiment. Have an experimental mindset.
Because the thing is, like, the people who take themselves too seriously, they don't experiment and they don't learn, and they want to look like they're smart.
And it seems obvious. It's like, try things out to learn more, but like. It doesn't seem it's not obvious in the moment when you have something that looks stupid in front of you and you're like, why am I going to do this stupid thing? Well, that's the whole point. Do it, and there's something on the other side. Actually, in fact, there's usually multiple things.
But a lot of people usually are scared because they want to look smart or look professional or appear a certain way. But the thing is, like, the process of exploration and learning things requires you to be a little foolish and be a little naive and be like a little bit like a child.
Troubleshoot, man.
And so that's why sometimes the really wise people, you'll realize they actually kind of are like a little kid sometimes, because they're willing to learn and they're willing to put themselves in positions where other people might judge them a little bit more, but it doesn't matter because that person's learning and we are learning, and
that's what experience is. Experience is not doing the thing you'll be doing it perfectly for the rest of your life. When you put it that way, it's like why would you do the same thing always?
Pretty much.
So that's our pieces of advice, I guess.
Well, before we end things, why don't I flip the question back to Anna? Why did you join us?
I joined.
That's a good one.
It's just something I've always liked. I've always liked the idea of building my own thing, and like the second that I got to the Build Purdue party, it was like the energy there was so amazing. The people there were so impressive. Like, you can go up to anybody and you'd be like, what are you building? And they would just go 15-30 minutes on just like telling you like
about
the
their AI
crazy
B2B
stuff
SaaS
they're doing. No,
so
but there was also really like so many people who were doing such cool stuff that like I can just tell. I know I'm not that experienced, but they're gonna go and do great things. It's a great community. There's great people here, and a great place to make friends and build your network. Thank you so much for your time, guys, and thank you so much to you guys for viewing our video. If you want to meet more founders like this, come to our event. We have events 7 p.m. every Wednesday. Our Instagram, where you can find information for our event, is linked in the description, and we would love to have you there, no matter what stage you are in your journey, or if you just want to learn more. We have great guest speakers coming in.
Yeah, everyone is welcome. This community is for you guys.